sun is shining and the weather is sweet. It makes you want to move your dancing feet. All right, maybe not right now. Maybe you just want to put your feet up, relax and enjoy the downtime, and somehow have the outdoors come to you. Doesn't sound bad at all. In fact, the next half hour will deliver that and so much more. Hi, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is Jamaica Magazine. To the rescue, here we come.
$650 students, $100 million. How are they connected? Through the Hospitality and Tourism Management Program offered at 32 high schools across the island. It's a 2-year program to equip future tourism workers with the requisite skills to meet the demands of the growing global industry. Graduates will be certified by the American Hotel and Lodging Educational Institute and received an associate degree from a local college. We're building a resilient tourism industry through human capital development.
Hi there, I'm Simone Wolf with your JIS News of the Week. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs is confirming that several persons of Jamaican heritage have received British citizenship under the Windrush scheme.
The ministry continues to support affected persons seeking support, but now we are also more heavily focused on the critical aspect of the compensation scheme. That's the method by which persons will seek to be put back in the position which they would have been had the wrongs under the immigration policy not been conducted against them.
In other foreign affairs news, the Portfolio Minister is reporting that Jamaica and its colleague countries of CARIFORUM are close to signing a post-Brexit trade deal with the United Kingdom.
I myself will be joining my CARIFORUM colleagues towards the end of this month in St. Lucia, together with UK trade officials, where we hope to finalize and perhaps sign the agreement. This process, the timing of which may seem aggressive to you, is to ensure that our interests are secure and that all relevant parties, including the UK, will be able to go through their respective parliamentary processes prior to March 30th, 2019, which is, of course, going to take us to Brexit +1.
Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark says Jamaica is in a position to repay 90% of its debt to the Export-Import Bank of China within 10 years' time.
Our debt reduction strategy has been anchored around a primary surplus target of 60% debt to GDP by the financial year 2025-26. And we are on track to meet that target. In fact, we are slightly ahead.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government circle project proposed for Kingston will serve as a catalyst to improve the built environment and spark new investments.
The government will bear the cost of putting in the roadway, the sewer, the water mains, and as we are in the 21st century, the information age, we have to also put in the infrastructure for an information highway, which would be all your cables and communication portals so that you can have a smart city.
At a rap session with Caenwood High School students this week, the Prime Minister urged them and other young people to reject violence and the Don culture that has taken root in communities across the island.
It has to start with this generation, with you saying no more of that. The Dons are illegitimate, they are evil, corrupt, and we must get them out of our society. The gang members, we must get them out of our society. They must have no protection in their community. They are not Robin Hoods. They have not served us. They are criminals. That's what they are, and that's what we must call them.
Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says expansion of the Court of Appeal in downtown Kingston will be completed by the end of this month.
From our end, we're going to provide all the necessary resources so that all the courts are attractive, all the courts are technologically savvy, so that in all the courts we will have the technology so that if you can't attend court and the Chief Justice approves, it will be live streamed to your smartphone.
The Ministry of Agriculture is making over 2,400 acres of farmland available to approximately 900 small farmers. Preparation of the land at Holland Estate in St. Elizabeth will begin in June 2019 after the final cane crop is reaped.
Those persons who are interested in 1 acre, some might be interested in 3 acres, some interested in 5 acres, but nobody is going to get more than 25 acres. Maximum, because it is going to be in the hands of the small farmers.
People living in the Papine, Mona environs of St. Andrew are to receive a fire station soon.
The University of the West Indies, following the discussions, has identified a plot of land for the construction of a new fire station on the campus of the University of the West Indies.
A new $16 million administrative building will be constructed to improve operations at the St. Elizabeth Infirmary.
The government has made this investment because it is not a favor the government is granting. It is our obligation to provide for those who desperately need the help.
The local government minister will be constructing a 2-bedroom home for the family of the teen boy who garnered public attention last week due to his lack of a birth certificate. Raheem Powell, who participated in the recent Local Government and Community Development Month National Road Race, has not attended school for over 4 years due to finances and being without the birth certificate.
We will undertake all the expenses that will be associated for his education, along with his brother. We are making all the arrangements. I've been in touch with Minister Floyd Green to ensure that we get Raheem registered in the program to assist him in upgrading his education.
And finally, government is looking to institute the proposed National Disaster Risk Financing Policy by early next year.
This is a very aggressive but necessary timeline because we want to ensure that prior to the expiration of our current standby arrangement with the fund, we have at least a strategy in place. We have a policy in place that's been tabled in Parliament, debated in Parliament, and accepted and becomes our national disaster financing risk policy.
And those are some of the stories making news this week. I'm Simone Wolf.
The Caribbean Sea surrounds Jamaica, influencing our lifestyle and washing waves of possibilities onto our shores. Among so many other things, Jamaica is known for our prowess in the maritime space.
The seas call them home. Home, where the northeast trade winds dance through the sounds of reggae, where the cockpit country shadows the world's fastest man, the vanguard of the Caribbean. The seas call them home, home to Jamaica. Jamaica is the third largest island in the Caribbean and the largest English-speaking island state, with the 7th largest natural harbor in the world, essential for a robust shipping industry. Jamaica also has the 2nd largest transshipment hub in the Caribbean. These developments are driven by a commitment to honor the international maritime conventions that Jamaica has signed, establishing a maturing partnership with the International Maritime Organization, IMO. This 40-year partnership brings consistent advocacy for the maritime interests of Jamaica, the Caribbean and the small island developing states, and the least developed countries. The seas carry them on, shaping an expansive and progressive maritime vision, fueling a structure and infrastructure of container, cruise and bulk cargo ports, maritime administration and ship registration, maritime education and training. This vision led to the expansion and upgrading of port facilities island-wide to capitalize on additional trade and larger ships accessing services through the newly expanded Panama Canal. The expansion positions Kingston as one of the region's major ports. The Port of Kingston is also equipped to offer a range of maritime logistical services, for example, operating as the regional hub for vehicles delivered to 23 destinations in Central America and the Caribbean. Through German Ship Repair Services Jamaica, the island also offers wet dock repair services and plans full ship repairs with a floating dry dock. Jamaica's commitment to a greener maritime environment guides its fuel diversification with the use of clean fuels, including natural gas. The prevention of maritime pollution is also integral in policy initiatives. As part of this thrust, Jamaica is now acceded to the Ballast Water Management Convention 2004 and is also the lead partnering country in the IMO's Global Ballast Partnerships Program. Bunkering is another key element of Jamaica's position as a major shipping center. We supply bunkers not only for vessels calling at Jamaican ports, including cruise ships, but also for those transiting across the wider Caribbean. Falmouth, Montego Bay, Ocho Rios, Port Antonio and Kingston, 5 cruise shipping ports, with the Falmouth Pier being purpose-built for the largest cruise ships in the world. These major cruise ports offer a full range of cruise passenger facilities and services. Awarded the world's leading cruise destination, Jamaica's unique attractions, diverse tourism and numerous recreational and cultural activities are equal sources of attraction for the creme de la creme of the seas, Royal Caribbean's Harmony of the Seas, the world's largest cruise ship and other major cruise lines. The seas sends them out. Seafarers and shipping staff trained in Jamaica for international service are key to Jamaica's success as a maritime state. The Caribbean Maritime University, CMU, is the sole IMO-recognized maritime training institution in the English-speaking Caribbean for the training of officers. The CMU is now poised to satisfy the region's demands in the expanding maritime and logistics sectors with the opening of 5 satellite campuses. Through partnership with the Technical Cooperation Division of the IMO, Jamaica helps countries in the region meet their obligations under the International Convention on Standards of Training, Certification and Watchkeeping for Seafarers. Jamaica has also chaired for 10 years at the IMO, the organ responsible for the international rules for standards of training for seafarers. Jamaica is committed to reducing substandard shipping in the Caribbean. To meet this objective, the island has hosted the Secretariat of the Caribbean Memorandum of Understanding on Port State Control, CMOU, since 2004. In addition, Jamaica is host to the International Seabed Authority. 25 states now have permanent missions to support the regulation and control of all mineral-related activities of the authority. Partnering with the IMO Program of Integration for Women in the Maritime Sector, Jamaica has helped to mobilize maritime women in the region and strengthened their contribution to the safety, security and environmental protection of the maritime industry. Jamaica has also hosted the inaugural Regional Women in Maritime Association WEMAC conference. Its executive is led by a cohort of strong female leaders, including its first president, a Jamaican. The seas carry them through, Jamaica's long-standing advantages, highly developed shipping expertise, and a skilled and educated workforce has seen our maritime sector blossom into an invaluable resource for the Caribbean and the region. A maritime state, a maritime home, bridging the IMO with the Caribbean and the Americas.
Let's get together and feel alright.
By now, every Jamaican at home or abroad should be familiar with Vision 2030. We want our country to be the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and of course, do business. Do business in keeping with the world-class standards, that is. With a little help, see how Jamaica is improving in the management of our national resources. Jamaica is endowed with many large deposits of high-purity limestone that, if developed, can be marketed for the processing of high-value products. The potential for significant earnings from limestone lies in its varied uses, such as in the production of cement, paper, paints, chemicals, animal feed, soap, toothpaste, and for pharmaceuticals. Focus on large rock bodies suitable for producing skid-resistant aggregates for transportation-wearing surfaces is also an area of significant economic interest. Current rejuvenation and expansion in the mining and construction sectors, including the use of sand from hard rocks, are commanding new opportunities.
The Ministry of Transport and Mining is particularly happy that this event is occurring. It therefore means that given the use of blasting and explosives in these two sectors, there will be a serious amount of work for persons who are going to be familiar with and trained in the blasting technologies.
Jamaica was one of 6 countries selected in August 2014 to participate in the ACP EU Development Minerals Program, of which the capacity building training is a significant component. This program is an initiative of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific ACP Group of States, financed by the European Union, and is being implemented by the United Nations Development Program, UNDP, with the Ministry of Transport and Mining's Mines and Geology Division as the national partner. Through a grant of €750,000, the capacity building work has taken off with industry stakeholders, civil society, private sector operators, blasters, and public sector representatives being provided with training in best practices in health and safety, environmental stewardship, mine management, and gender issues. It's all part of an overall effort to have development of neglected minerals play a more integral role in sustainable development, generating more local jobs and reducing poverty.
The program must be commended because of its focus, one that seeks to raise the profile and improve the management, particularly in what they call development minerals sector. We know that these minerals have played and continue to play a very important role in terms of development, whether roads, highways. We know that we are in a knowledge economy, and knowledge is what basically drives economies. So this training program is very timely, any training program. The importance of improving your own efficiency, your competitiveness cannot be overemphasized. Thank ACP, EU in particular, funders for your total and committed support to this program.
The training contributes to disseminating innovative know-how and supports the implementation of the Paris Agreement and its commitment to alternative clean technology.
When we are talking about blasting, we know that there are some risks. This learning will be important for influencing changing within the national frameworks. Because of lack of attention to the sector, often the ordinary practices face a number of environmental, social, and economic challenges. It is therefore important to build capacity by training and offering support to the main stakeholders in the sector. Like many Jamaicans, we believe that education and skills training are essential tools for transforming lives. This is why we are fully engaged in supporting key initiatives aimed at advancing access to education and building people's capacity to create or find employment opportunities to improve their quality of life.
The training covers theory as well as practical demonstrations of quarry blasting techniques and mining and other quarry management methodologies.
We are trying to let them have an understanding of blasting, quarry design, and how to more efficiently use the explosive to get the production that is desired. Basically, we are trying to impart best practice.
We basically mine 5 different raw materials for the cement manufacture process. Limestone, which is 80% of the materials used. Basically, we also drill and blast 80% of that material. So this program is very, very beneficial to us, as I'm expected to be exposed to all the best practices in drilling and blasting. I'll be better able to manage my contractors who are also here.
It will be a boost for the industry, considering we have been having train-the-trainer programs where we train individuals that will go back into the quarries, into the industry to train others. So before long we'll have a well-trained unit.
The ACP EU UNDP Development Minerals Program on Training, a partnership with Mines and Geology Division, Ministry of Transport and Mining, empowering people to achieve sustainable development. A compound. Today is less soupy and more of a history lesson. Now, I don't know if you did, but I can tell you I had no idea that a compound, the Free Village in St. Elizabeth, is allegedly the name of a Maroon warrior and the brother of Maroon leader Cudjoe. Captain Akompong, a man who became a tough one. Adoption, building families, changing lives. That is the theme which guides the observance of Adoption Week, which ends today. Now, if you're keen on shaping the future, consider adopting a child today, especially since the process is being made easier.
The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, has taken steps to make the adoption process much easier. Joining me is Adoption Coordinator, Mrs. Maxine Bugelo, who will be giving us some information about the changes made. Thank you for coming, Mrs. Bugelo.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we're going to go straight into it. What are the changes made?
Okay, before 2016, we had a 2-tier system. First, applicants were asked to complete a pre-adoption form and then submit that to us. Now that would normally take some time. So we reviewed the system and said that it would be best if maybe we erase that part of the process. So now what applicants have to do is that they go straight to our website and where they will find the adoption forms. The forms include the application form, the medical form, one for the child and the applicants, and the guidelines which outline all the information and all the required documents that need to be submitted with the application form.
Awesome. And what are the required documents?
The required documents are the birth certificates, marriage certificates if they are married, job letters and income statements, references from persons who know them, not a family member. And the references should not necessarily speak only to the person being a nice or a good person, but it should speak to how would they care for a child. That should be included, their capacity to care for a child. If the child is in school, we would need the child's last school report as well.
And when all of that is completed, what's the next step?
The next step would be submit all of those to to the CPFSA. When it is here now, we would review to ensure that all documents are here. Now, if all the information is there, the application is reviewed, given a number, and assigned to a caseworker. And a letter would be sent to the applicant informing them of this and who the person is. Once the caseworker gets that application, that caseworker would now start to prepare appointments to interview both the applicants, the child, and whosoever, the birth parents, because the birth parents are also very important in the process.
And what if there are no birth parents?
Well, if there are no birth parents, we would have had death certificates for the parents if they have died. If they are nowhere around or cannot be located, there are avenues that we would have to take internally to ensure that we try our best to find them.
And once that's completed, what's next?
Once that is completed, the officers then would have to do a comprehensive report. And that report would have to be compiled and then submitted to the adoption board, because the adoption board is the only agency in Jamaica that can approve adoption at that level. So after the approval, it is submitted to the adoption board and approval is given, then it is now preparation for court. Because court is where it is finalized legally.
How long does that process usually last?
The entire process? We are at now 3 to 6 months, depending on if there are no challenges.
And once you get to court, then?
Once we get to court, well, court is held depending on the availability by the court. Some courts have set dates, while others will have to submit our documents and await their decision as to when we can come to court. Now, once the court has signed off on those documents, for adoption orders, it is the applicant's responsibility to collect those, and they will take a copy to the RGD, where they will apply for the new birth certificate for the adopted child.
And is there any cost associated with any of this process?
No, adoptions are free in Jamaica.
Is there anything else that Jamaica needs to know about the process?
We need adopters, prospective adopters, to understand that it is important that they submit all the documents, and it is also important that they are truthful in the stories that they give pertaining to how a child is placed in their care. Because what we find is that sometimes when we approach birth parents, they are not aware that this child is being adopted. They know that somebody is caring for their child, but that was not the arrangement that they adopted for. Persons generally who wish to adopt should love a child, should really want to take care of a child, because it's a lifelong investment. Persons, they should have proper accommodation for their child. They should be able to financially can afford to take care of that child. And they should be willing to accept that child as theirs. And that is very important, because we see sometimes that persons adopt for many different reasons, and this can affect the relationship of that child for the rest of their lives.
How can people reach out to you to find out or to just inquire about the adoption process?
Okay, we have an email address, adoption@childprotection.gov.jm, and our straight line to the unit is 922-1751.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Pogelo.
You're welcome.
This is where my time with you ends on this, your Saturday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I certainly hope you were informed and entertained. Remember to view this and other programs on our website, jis.gov.jm. And if social media is more your speed, find us there too. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, or you can find us on YouTube. On behalf of the team here at the JIS, I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.